Yes, for a layman in Nigeria or students, peoples, teachers, the moment you say diction, what comes to their mind is sounding like native speakers. That's what it is in Nigeria. When you say diction, not the dictionary definition, I'm talking about as a layman, as students, as peoples, when you ask them, what do you understand by diction? What they know or what comes to their mind or what they tell you is that diction has to do with sounding like the native speakers. And that's why today on Diction and School Matters, I want to teach on how to sound like the native speakers. Yes, sounding like the native speakers doesn't require you taking a position when you're asked to use your diction or when you want to sound like the native speakers. You see, some of the children, when you tell them, use your diction, the next thing, they start bending their necks, they start taking a position and now getting ready to now sound like the native speakers. No, that is wrong. And that's where this singing song thing comes to play. They will now start, as I was going home, I saw my neighbor. My neighbor said I should come back home. You see, that is not it. I even did it well because I cannot really do it the way they used to do it. They do worse than I just did. And that's wrong. That's not the proper way of sounding like the native speakers. You don't have to mimic someone's voice, as in mimic the person boldness or thinness of voice. Use your voice the way it is and maintain the use of the rising, falling, full rise, and all the intonation you are going to learn. So today on diction, we're looking at intonation. It is intonation that will help you to sound like the native speakers. And some people also say we don't really need the rise and fall thing because of the singing song, whatever pattern. No, if you don't use that rise and fall intonation and all the intonation, you end up sounding like a Nigerian who can pronounce their words correctly. Yes, and that is not sounding like native speakers. Let me say, for instance, I my name like a native speaker, like a typical Nigerian. My name is Joan. My name is Joan, and I am a girl. This is sounding like, but I pronounce my word correctly, like the Joan and the girl, but sounding like a native speaker with the same sentence. You go. My name is Jane and I am a girl. Which one sounds perfect? The second one. So you need the rising intonation, the falling, or the intonation, then the correct pronunciation of words to make it up. So quickly, intonation is the rise and fall of one's voice when speaking. We have different types of intonation, which are the rising intonation, the falling intonation, the rise fall intonation, the fall rise intonation. But today I'm going to dwell on the rising intonation and when to use the rising intonation. Now, what's the rising intonation? The rising intonation is a voice going up when speaking. Whenever you go up, you go this pattern when speaking, which means you're using the rising intonation. We're going to ask you, we use the rising intonation to ask questions that requires you to say yes or no. We also use the rising intonation for commas, for when you want to expect more to come. So there are so many uses of the rising intonation, but I'm going to dwell on asking questions with the rising intonation. So we use the rising intonation to ask questions that require you to say yes or no, or any question that begins with auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verbs like can, is, any of the auxiliary verb can, is, did, was, have, and all the rest. So how do you do that? It goes this way. Have you seen my mother? Look at the way I did it. Have you seen my mother? You bring them together. Have you seen my mother? Did you see my sister? Are you going home? Were you there when the event took place? Were you there when the event took place? So it's going up. That's how to use ask questions with the rising intonation. You can use all of the sentences I've made to what? Miss your own. Now, as a typical Nigerian, you will say, can you see me? Now you want to sound like the native speaker. It goes, can you see me? You want to ask as Nigerian, did you see her? As a native speaker, you go, did you see her? Do you get that now? So marry it to any auxiliary verb, any question that begins with auxiliary verb. From there, you can run. Okay, so if you have not followed me on you've not followed me on Facebook, please try to follow now. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Diction and School Matters. TikTok, Instagram, Diction and School Matters. Or you go, Ngozi Chinwo, you check down the bio, you will see Diction and School Matters. Please share. Thank you.